Hey guys, what's up? In my last video, which was a book haul that I did, I said that I would maybe be doing a book review depending on how fast I could finish these books. And to my surprise, I actually finished all three of them within like the same 2-week period. So yeah, I'm really excited to be able to share what I thought of these books. I'm gonna try really hard not to give away or spoil any of the plots of these books because I would still really like it if you guys had the opportunity to read them. I just want to share with you guys my opinions on them. So I'll start with Tiny Beautiful Things. So this is the book by Cheryl Strayed. I absolutely loved this book. I totally devoured it. I finished it within like a weekend, and it's not the smallest book, it's like a pretty big read. But what was so special about this book is that it didn't even feel like you were reading a book. It was so, there's some questions that were so funny, and some of them were very, very sad. The pieces of advice that she gave to people were so relevant, and she did it in such a cool way because she would put these people's questions or issues that they were having in their life in this really objective way. Her advice was so sound, and it wasn't preachy or anything. It was just really honest advice. I feel like I'm not doing justice in describing how good this book is. It's very, very interesting, and I truly believe that it changed the way that I think about some of the things that I deal with. I almost feel like it can make me a better friend because I can sort of deliver advice to people in an objective way. So I totally recommend this book. Pick this book up because it is so freaking good. I'll talk about The Grown Up. This was actually an interesting read. I totally did not expect it to be this way. Gillian Flynn is a pretty dark author. If you guys have read Gone Girl or watched the movie Gone Girl, that's based off of the book that Gillian Flynn wrote, and she tends to write like really disturbing, mind-boggling books about generally like murder mysteries, and they always kind of leave you at the end being like, what? Like, you just never really know what you read, or like you don't know what to believe. And that's totally what this book was like at first. The introduction to this book is so freaking weird. I don't even want to read it on camera because my family watches this. Pretty much this book is about this girl who her entire life was kind of struggling. She was a little mischievous, and she would kind of con people out of their money, and then she ends up working at this fortune-telling shop where she's not actually a fortune teller. She is doing other things, and she's like a really funny, quirky character. You can almost like envision who she would be even though she's unnamed in this book. She ends up reading the aura of this woman that walks into the fortune-telling shop that she works at, and this woman ends up detailing how she thinks that her house is haunted and her stepson is gonna murder her or whatever. And so the fortune teller, who is the unnamed narrator, goes to this woman's house, and then she starts to discover all these weird things that this woman was originally describing to her and that they may actually be true. I finished this in maybe 2 hours. Like, that's pushing it because I took like tea breaks and stuff. I feel like for most readers this would maybe take you an hour, which is not to say that it's not a good book, because this is so good. At the end I was sitting there like, what? Oh my god, what did I just read? Like, what happened? Because Gillian Flynn does this crazy way of leading you to believe one character's story, and there's a whole underlying story going on. She's a really, really good author, and I would totally recommend this book. It's just a fun read. It's funny. It's kind of like weird and disturbing, but yeah, I thought this is a really great short read. It's pretty suspenseful. I'm still kind of wondering. I don't know what to make of the end of this book. So if you guys like thrillers and mysteries, it really leaves you guessing at the end. And if you like kind of like spooky stories, you'd probably like this. Last book I've read, this book is so sad. This was the book Me Before You by Jojo Moyes. I don't know how to pronounce her last name, so I really hope I'm saying that right. I just saw the trailer for the movie, which I don't even know if I can go see because I cried so hard when I read this book. This was a great read. Honestly, I know I said this in my last video that this is not normally a book that I would gravitate towards. I generally don't like romance novels or anything like that. Like I would prefer a thriller. But yeah, I totally fell in love with this book. The beginning of it was kind of slow. I remember being like, come on, like when is it going to get into the plot? But it develops in such a beautiful way because you start to really love the character that you initially kind of hated. I hated the man in this novel, Will. At first he was just so unlikable, and then the main character, Louisa, she's just kind of this like clumsy, quirky, weird girl that you also start to fall in love with. Pretty much Louisa, the main character, is looking for a job, and she finds a job with a man named Will Trainer, who is a quadriplegic, and she ends up being his primary caretaker. But she starts to learn more about the family dynamic of that Will has. She understands why the job was only 6 months long. She starts to find out why and more about the family secrets, and then she starts to just really learn about who this man who she works for is, aside from his pretty unlikable character at first. But yeah, this is a beautiful, beautiful book. It's funny and it has a great storyline. It's really rich. You really feel like you know the characters really well. And yeah, it's very, I don't want to like ruin anything, but I mean, it even says in the back, Oprah said you'll cry if you read this book, so I'm not really spoiling anything. This is a fantastic book. Yeah, I really hope that like you guys also maybe will see the trailer or something and you'll want to read this. But I was kind of disappointed in the trailer. I was like, what? That is not what I pictured Louisa looking like, and that's not what I pictured Will looking like. But whatever, I'll watch it anyways and to see what I think in the end. But yeah, if you're in the market for a book that you really get lost in the story and maybe you need a good cry, then pick up this book because I think it's fantastic. As I drop it. So that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this kind of book review. I did just recently pick up a bunch of new books, so I will be doing a book haul again because I really want to share what I read with you guys. I think reading is super important and it's one of my favorite things to do when I have free time. If you guys have read any books recently that you think that I would like, please comment them down below. If you like what you saw, please click subscribe and comment down below. And that's it. Thank you so much. I hope you guys have a great week. Bye.